Here is the audience.
Sugar. It's in everything you see at the store. You'll pick up just a can of tomato sauce and look at the ingredients, and sugar is on the list. And we're expected to eat it regularly. I've been to several different events that they've had desserts, and if I don't eat the dessert, people look at me like I think I'm better than them. But sugar is a real problem, and it should be taken seriously. Sugar can cause diseases like diabetes, focus problems, and weakness in your overall health. Both of my granddads had diabetes, and it made their life a lot more difficult. My granddad on my dad's side passed away several years ago, and his diabetes definitely played a huge effect in his health. And my mom's dad still has diabetes, and he struggles with eating the right foods, and it also affects his health in a pretty major way. I also had a lot of focus problems growing up doing school because I would eat a lot of sugary breakfasts, and that would definitely affect my schoolwork. Sugar can also cause health problems in your DNA. If you have a family history of things such as cancer, eating sugar can increase the risk of contracting those types of diseases. Mental health is also a high risk. If you have family members who have had things like dementia and you continue eating sugar, it could also bring that disease on earlier in life. My grandmother had dementia, and her sugar intake definitely increased the speed of that disease and how it took over her brain. So I have chosen to stay away from sugar so that I can hopefully avoid having that very sad disease. There are many other health problems in my family and other people's family that can be caused by sugar, and I would like to avoid those diseases if at all possible. So you have to ask yourself a question: is sugar really worth it? Dr. Himmer said, foods such as gluten, dairy, and sugar can cause inflammation, which will decrease the blood flow to your brain. Sugar should be avoided along with high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners. So you should make sure you care about the things that go into your body, and you should try to avoid sugar whenever possible, because it could alter your life for the better to get rid of sugar. And if you continue eating sugar, it could cause a lot of health problems to happen. So you can't start out by cutting out sugar just all at once. You need to slowly ease yourself into it. So I try to replace sugar with healthy alternatives such as honey, stevia, and agave nectar. I also like making healthy snacks because they're really good for you, and it helps you to avoid the processed sugar and store-bought candy bars. This is a recipe I made up myself. I use a cup of coconut oil. Right now it is solid because it is cold right now, so you have to melt it down. And then you are going to add, you're going to use a cup of coconut oil, then you're going to add a 4th cup of a sweetener of your choice. I chose to use agave nectar because it has a good flavor. It's closer to sugar. It doesn't have as much of a flavor as things like maple syrup. But there are some types of maple syrup that taste more like caramel, so you can use those if you want to have more of a caramel flavor. And then you put a cup and a half of cocoa powder. Make sure it's unsweetened, because if you use just regular sweet cocoa powder, you might as well buy a candy bar at the store and you've wasted your time. So then you also add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Try to get pure organic so it's not the flavoring, because that would be better for you as well. You're going to mix all of these into a mixing bowl, and then you're going to pour it into a pan about this size. And before you pour it into the pan, you're going to want to line it with parchment paper or wax paper, because that will make the next step a lot easier. Next, you'll take out, after it is chilled in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Sometimes I do 30 minutes to an hour, or if I just get distracted and forget what I'm doing. But usually it's about 15 minutes before it's hardened. So you take it out and you can break it, and then you have your chocolate. And if you'd like, before you stick it in the freezer, you can add things like coconut and nuts and make it taste better and be more exciting. So yes, it does take extra time to make homemade desserts like this, but it's well worth it in the end. Imagine yourself in the future having more energy to do things around the house that you need to do, and lower risk of health problems, which will also decrease your doctor bill because you won't have to go to the doctor to get as many different prescriptions, especially as you get older. And Mercola says that it can also decrease health problems like diabetes and cancer. And just from this one step, you could even start losing weight, according to Yoga Oxygen Fitness. So now it is time for you to take action. The next time you crave sugar, go for a healthy alternative like fruit. I like oranges and strawberries because they're very high in vitamin C and they're very sweet, and it's a nice thing to have, especially after dinner instead of dessert. And have your healthy snacks made. This is just one. You can find many other healthy alternatives to sugar if you just Google healthy recipes and look for ones that use the sweeteners that I listed earlier. Try to find plant-based things. So you want to try to use the healthy oils like coconut oil because it will solidify and become like chocolate. So make sure you are always prepared and have some sort of a healthy option you can eat instead of going back to processed sugar. Because if you don't have anything made and you start craving chocolate, it's very tempting to go find that Halloween candy and just tear into it because chocolate's good. You just have to find an alternative that you can work with. Just remember why it is important. You'll be healthier overall, you'll feel better, and you'll have more energy. It can also even improve your skin and your hair growth. So use this as inspiration in the future as you choose what to put into your body. Because sugar is a real detriment to your health, but just remember, stay inspired by this speech so that you can have a healthier life.